Ni Xang, the black dye in the white shadow. She lived a life woven from silence and shadow. For years, she was merely a name whispered in a forgotten border town, a quiet woman married to the local magistrate. No one knew her true history. She hid her past like a buried treasure, deep beneath layers of normalcy. Her hands, once swift and deadly, now poured tea and tended a small garden. The legend of the white-haired witch was a ghost she thought she had outrun. Her most dangerous secret lay hidden beneath the floorboards of their modest home. Her sword, an extension of her soul, rested there silent and waiting. It was a constant reminder of the life she had sworn to leave behind. Each morning, she performed a ritual of concealment. She dyed her striking white hair a deep, unassuming black. It was a disguise, a shield against the world that had once feared her name. She built a life of quiet contentment with her husband. He knew nothing of the storms that had raged in her past, only the calm harbor she offered him. It was a fragile peace, built on a foundation of deliberate forgetting. She believed she had finally found refuge. She believed the echoes of battle and betrayal had faded into silence. She believed she was safe. Peace is a fragile thing, easily shattered. One night, the quiet life she had so carefully constructed was ripped apart. The flames that engulfed the town hall were a beacon of destruction. Her husband, the kind magistrate, was taken from her, not by illness or age, but by brutal violence. His life was extinguished in the heart of the fire. They found him later, amidst the ashes and ruin. A single cruel object marked his chest. It was a steel blossom, intricate and deadly. She recognized it instantly. It was the signature of the black willow sect, a mark she had seen before, a mark she had believed belonged to a buried past. The black willow sect. She had faced them years ago, their power absolute, their cruelty legendary. She had fought them, ruled against them, and ultimately, she had shattered their reign. But the steel blossom proved her wrong. They had not vanished. They had merely retreated into the shadows waiting. And now, they had found her. They had taken the one person who anchored her to this new life. They had shown her a death without mercy. The quiet woman was gone. Grief is a fire that can consume or forge anew. For her, it was a forge. The pain of loss ignited the thirst for justice that burned hotter than the town hall flames. The disguise she had worn for years felt like a suffocating shroud. It was time to shed the skin of the quiet wife. It was time for the legend to return. She went to the river, the cold water a stark contrast to the fire in her soul. She washed away the black dye, strand by strand. As the color faded, the stark white emerged, brilliant and defiant. Her white hair was not a sign of age, but a mark of her power, a symbol of the path she had walked. It was the banner of the white-haired witch she embraced. She returned to the house, the scent of smoke still lingering. Her hand went to the floorboards. With a practiced movement, she lifted the section, revealing the dark wood beneath. There lay her sword. The steel felt familiar, a part of her own bone and muscle. Its silence was a promise of swift action. The quiet life was over. The time for hiding was past. She stood, the white hair flowing, the sword in her hand, ready to confront the darkness that had stolen her peace. She was no longer the magistrate's wife. She was the white-haired witch, reborn from the ashes of her grief. Vengeance would be her guide. The trail led her away from the quiet border town, towards the heart of the empire. It led her to Jianzhou, a city of power and secrets. She moved through its crowded streets, a ghost with a purpose. She sought the hand that had guided the steel blossom. The investigation was swift, fueled by a cold, precise fear. The name that emerged was both familiar and chilling. Master Yansu. The name resonated with a history of conflict. He was the former leader of the Black Willow sect, the architect of their terror. Years ago, she had faced him in a battle that had echoed across the land. She had defeated him, broken his power, and scattered his followers. She had believed that was the end of his story. But vipers are hard to kill. Yan Suwen had not perished. He had merely shed his skin, transforming himself. He had risen through the ranks of the court, cloaking himself in respectability. Now he held a position of immense power. He was the Minister of Justice, a cruel irony that did not escape her. He used his influence, his network, to reach out and strike at her hidden life. He had orchestrated her husband's death. It was a calculated act, a message, a final twist of the knife from a past she had tried to bury. Yan Suwen was the viper, and he had revealed himself. Justice, true justice, often operates outside the halls of power. It finds its own path, its own time. For Yan Suwen, that time arrived at dusk. She found him in the courtyard, where wealth cloaked corruption in silk and stone. The fading light cast long shadows across the cracked pavers, and the air was thick with stillness. The city's noise was a distant murmur beyond high, ancient walls. There were no witnesses, only the two of them, and the silent ghosts of a past neither could forget. He had guards, of course, men sworn to protect the Minister of Justice. They moved to intercept her, their weapons drawn. But her movements were a blur, a dance of death honed over years of conflict. The sword, the silent blade, moved with impossible speed and precision. The guards though, not with cries, but with gasps, their lives extinguished before they could even fully register the attack. Yan Suwen watched, his face paling as he recognized the legend standing before him. The white-haired witch, a specter from his past, had come for him. There was no long drawn-out battle. This was not about proving dominance, but about delivering consequence. Her purpose was singular, her action decisive. She moved toward him, each step measured, the sword unwavering in her grip. He reacted, a flicker of instinct, a desperate reach for defense. Late, the blade slid through silence and silk alike, finding its mark with the certainty of justice long delayed. He dropped to his knees. The petals kept falling. It was a single fatal blow, swift, clean, and absolute. Yan Suwen, the viper, the Minister of Justice, fell. His reign of cruelty was over. Killing Yan Suwen was only part of the task. True justice required more than just ending his life. It required exposing his crimes, clearing the name of the man he had murdered. Before she left the study, she placed a sealed letter on his desk. It contained the evidence meticulously gathered. Orders signed by Yan Suwen, marked with his seal, detailing the plot against her husband. She entrusted the letter to a scholar, a man whose life her husband had once saved from Yan Suwen's corruption. He was a man of integrity, someone who would ensure the truth reached the highest authority. The scholar delivered the letter to the emperor himself. The evidence was undeniable, irrefutable. The emperor read the damning words, saw the official seals. The court, despite Yan Suwen's influence, could not ignore the truth. The evidence forced their hand. An investigation was launched, confirming the contents of the letter. Yan Suwen's crimes were laid bare for all to see. His legacy was one of corruption and murder, not justice. His name became synonymous with betrayal. And her husband's name, the kind magistrate, was cleared. He was recognized not as a victim of circumstance, but as a casualty of a powerful man's malice. His honor was restored. The Black Willow legacy, tied to Yan Suwen, died with him, this time for good. She returned to the border town, forever changed by the journey. The quiet life she had known was gone, replaced by a profound understanding of loss and resilience. She was no longer just the woman who had lived there. She visited her husband's grave, the simple stone marking his resting place. The air was still, the only sound the gentle rustling of leaves. She stood there for a long time, a silent vigil. From her hair, she took a single white hairpin. It was simple, unadorned, a symbol of her true self. She placed it gently on the grave, a final tribute to the man who had given her peace. She was not the same woman who had dyed her hair black and hidden her sword. The white-haired witch had returned, delivered justice, and transformed once more. She was no longer defined solely by her past as a witch or by her grief as a widow. She had become something new, something more. She was a white shadow, moving through the world with purpose and quiet strength. A woman reborn from the ashes of her past, her actions etched into the memory of those who knew the truth. Legend was not over. It had merely entered a new chapter.